Number 16. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself to. When you reach the front desk, ask to see someone who calls himself the holder of the future. Do not follow if the attendant offers to show you the way. He's not the true guide, and will lead you into madness. The true guide will fall silent and hand you a sheet of paper on which the way forward is written in lines of blood and fire. Walk forward, concentrating on the writing. If your focus doesn't waver, you'll pass through both the desk and the man to find yourself in a long, disused hallway. It may once have seemed opulent, full of color and promise, but the walls are now stained and the carpet is black and filthy. As you pass through the halls, images will flicker in previously unseen windows. It may seem that, from the corner of your eye, you see friends long dead beckon to you, or lost lovers turned young and new once more as they offer themselves to you again. Voices seem to whisper that the windows hold second chances, opportunities to make things right. You can choose again, they seem to say. But you mustn't look up from the paper in your hands. To do so is to glimpse fully what watches you from outside, and that would leave you at an end truly beyond salvation. Accounts differ as to the hallway's ultimate, impossible length. Some say that you must continue to walk until you have glimpsed each of all of your possible futures through the windows. Others imply that the closer the time of uniting approaches, the shorter one will find the journey of the end of the hall. If the latter is true, may all who enter find their path long beyond reckoning. You may only look fully away from the paper at the end of the hallway, and even there you may never look behind you. The door before you leads into a ballroom that, like the hallway, has fallen from its former bright elegance into filth and despair. Move forward into the gloom until the door and all chance of escape are lost behind you. Walk with care. The holder watches you even now. The path forward once passed straight through the center of the room, but the center has not held over the many years, and the way has drifted. You may never find your way if it has drifted too far, and you'll spend the rest of your unnaturally long life wishing you had given yourself to the windows, half-glimpsed temptations. If you're fortunate, however, you will find a single point where the little light remaining fades away completely, and there you must close your eyes and wait, regardless of what should happen next. If you have pleased the holder, you will come to hear a cat's soft purr, and you will feel a warmth twining around your feet. You must keep your eyes closed until a voice has asked you, "What will you do with them?" 3 times. To answer the first and second time will turn the purrs into snarls as the touch of 1,000 razor claws pricks your throat. Only after the third and final time may you open your eyes. In front of you will be a woman laying on a bed. As with the rooms that preceded the chamber, she might long ago have been stunningly beautiful, and though she lies naked on the bed, she is nauseatingly fat. Her skin pockmarked with bed sores and dead flesh and syphilitic blooms. Hundreds of cats cluster around her. Eventually, one will come to stand expectant at your feet. Speak only to this one, telling him, "I will do what I must." He will then teach you the language of cats, and once you have learned, the others will tell you a secret that was never meant for human ears. You must never reveal it until such time when you have nothing else in the world to give. Cats are jealous creatures, and delight in the pain of those who betray their trust. Their secret is the 16th of 538. I may speak no more of it. Number 17. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself to. When you reach the front desk, ask with no hesitation to visit someone who calls himself the holder of the present. The worker will look at you vaguely. You have to ask him again. Once the worker understands your question, he'll lead you through a door into a hallway that looks like an extension of hell itself. In this hallway, you'll find nothing but darkness and the feeling of unimaginable horror. If you should hear a shriek come from the left of you, start running towards the door you just came from, or you will be devoured by demons yelling incomprehensible babble from mouths awash with vile poison. If you should hear a shriek coming from the right of you, Start running towards the door that your path leads to. Ignore the worker and keep running until you reach the door. If you should hear another shriek coming from anywhere around you, close your eyes and pray to the gods that your death will be a swift one. Should you not hear a shriek, just follow the worker until he unlocks the door at the end of the hall. He will now ask you to enter, and he will leave. In this room, you will only find two things: a naked girl whose left hand is a mangled stump, seemingly torn to shreds by an otherworldly maw, and the rusted keychain she's holding. You must look at the keychain and may not avert your eyes from it. You can say nothing, except ask her this one question: why do they belong together? Now, move your eyesight to the face of the girl. She'll look at you and tell you the most gruesome story of the present. How this present has come to be, how it is now, and eventually how it will be. The girl will slowly move towards you. Do not move, and stay still until she is but one footstep away from you. She will put the shredded piece of rot that was once her left hand on your shoulder. She will then whisper into your ear, "The time has come, and now you must die." Do not react to this statement. Just keep staring into her eyes, and eventually you'll feel something being pushed into your hand. The keychain is object 17 of 538. Only the keys that are meant for it can be put on it, and all other keys should be repelled. Number 18. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself to. When you reach the front desk, ask with no hesitation to visit someone who calls himself the holder of passion. The worker will blush and daydream. You'll have to ask 2 more times until he finally nods and gestures you to follow him. He will lead you into a hallway. You will hear a muffled diesel engine, but for a moment, it does not matter. Ignore it for now. Instead, listen to any whispering you hear. If it stops, it is vital for your sanity that you shut your eyes, for a horrifying creature will emerge from the ground and after a short time leave through the ceiling. Should you hear the whispers in unknown languages until you and the warden reach a door made from stone, you're safe. Now, listen to the engine. If it keeps running, proceed and open the door. Do not even try to imagine what happens when the engine stops. No one has ever been able to tell after it has stopped. Now, if the door has been opened, the worker will leave you alone. Enter the door and walk straight forward until it closes. Now, you have to say the words, "Excuse me, I'd like to learn from you." If you did anything wrong, you'll be dead before you even realize it, so don't worry about this. Should nothing happen for several dozen seconds, you may resume walking. Do this until you reach a heart that is as big as your head. Do not touch it. Instead, turn around. You'll see either the most beautiful woman or the most horrific creature your eyes have ever witnessed. The latter only appears if you have touched the still beating heart. Its sight alone will almost drive you insane and haunt you for the rest of your life. Should you see the woman, look at her eyes, nowhere else, even if she does not wear any clothes. The beauty will literally blind you, and you'll be forced to wander around in her realm until the end of your life. If you're able to keep looking at her eyes, you may ask one question: are they alive? The woman will suddenly moan soundly and lay down on the ground, beginning to satisfy herself by masturbating. You must quickly close your eyes and hold your ears shut with your hands, as her moaning will slowly destroy your mind and body, should you hear it clearly. After some time, you'll feel someone touch your right shoulder. You may now open your eyes and lower your hands. Do not turn around to whoever touched you. Instead, look at where the woman was. She will now be gone. Only ash is what is left of her. Search within the ash for her uterus. Take it, and close your eyes. Open them again after you felt something cold touch your head. You'll be back in the mental institute, behind the warden who guided you to the stone door. The uterus is object 18 of 538. It has one child left to bear. Number 19. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself to. When you reach the front desk, ask with no hesitation to visit someone who calls himself the holder of innocence. The worker will say nothing. but a single tear should fall from her eye. She'll guide you to a forgotten hallway in an abandoned wing of the rundown institution. She will not enter the hall with you, but will only look into your eyes with a cautious hope, her own expression seeming to beg for salvation. Should you enter the hall, you will not see much, save for the dirty, broken fragments of what were once beautifully carved ivory statuettes. Before long, you'll hear soft whimpers from the other side. Pay close attention, for if the whimpers stop, then all hope is already lost. There is no use in running away. As you turn the handle of the simple wooden door on the other side, a warm and cozy light will greet your face. You'll find yourself in a bedroom of a young girl of 18 years. The girl herself will be sitting cross-legged on the floor at the foot of the bed, her only garment an open nightrobe, exposing the entirety of her pure body. She is the source of the tortured whimpers, and nothing you say to console her will end her torrent of stifled wails. Only if you ask her, what happened when it was first created? She will become silent to glance up toward your face. Her beauty will render you breathless, and if you're still capable of any thought, it'll be only the realization that in her you see everything in the world that you truly love. Suddenly, you realize that the girl is bleeding from her nether regions as a grotesque phallus emerges from the petite orifice between her legs. The object will pulsate with its own life, and you'll find that it's hypnotizing you. Do not look away, for you do not wish to try its patience. Soon, the room will disappear before your eyes, and you'll be standing in the most serene clearing you have ever witnessed. And all of nature's fauna that you recognize will go about their lives around you, with no fear of anything, not even death. Suddenly, though, a shadow will fall over the meadow, and you will witness the forest all around burst into pillars of flame. What happens next, no man can dwell on for long before going insane. But in the strength of the human mind, you will endure. In the end, you'll hear screams and moans and groans. But what will overcome you more than anything are the quiet whimpers, the stifled cries of all the sullied innocence of the world that was. You realize that these cries will continue to be heard all across the globe until the world's end. None can endure those near-silent pleas and still maintain the slightest hope for the future. The illusion will fade, and you'll find yourself back in the room. You will find the girl laying dead on the floor, her face a mixture of agony and horror. Her already decaying body now feeding the towering phallus and giving it a sinister glow. That is Object 19 of 538. If you touch it, then it will be yours, but if you let it master you, then it will use your body to seek and assemble all the pieces, no matter what the cost. Number 20. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself to. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of deception. The worker will look at you with an expression of shock on her face. Then, with superhuman speed, she'll attack you with her baton. If you're not knocked unconscious by the first blow, flee the city, for they will now know what you're after. When your consciousness returns, you will be in a magnificent courtyard on a starry night. There will be a great stone staircase that appears to ascend to the heavens themselves. Climb the staircase, but never look behind you. If you do, the stairs will begin to crumble and you will plummet into the void for an eternity. After what will seem like days of climbing, you will come to a landing overlooking a great marble amphitheater, styled in an ancient Greek fashion. Descend to the bottom of the amphitheater. An old man in opalescent robes will be waiting for you on a dais in the center. This storied old man will be lecturing as if there was a great crowd. However, you must not listen to him, for not a word he speaks is true. If you are drawn in by his charismatic speaking, your mind will be completely subjugated by his deception, and you will be a slave for eternity. He will only react to one question. What is the only truth you are permitted to speak of? The man will look down at you with an expression of great sadness. He will then impart on you a story that will shake the very foundations of your soul with great sorrow, but will leave you knowing one important truth. The number itself is not as it seems. He will motion you towards an exit of the amphitheater and continue his lecture. Turn away from him quickly, for you will now be able to see the legions of horrific twisted demons sitting in the seats of the amphitheater. Do not gaze towards any of them longer than a moment, or else it will tear you apart and add you to their collection of souls. Walk to the exit as quickly as possible. There will be a great grimoire on the stand next to the door. Take the grimoire to the exit through the door. You'll find yourself in a back alley behind the asylum. The grimoire you clutch, with its pages firmly strapped shut and locked with a great steel padlock, is Object 20 of 538. If you wish to see past the deception and reunite them, you must find the key.